Glencore not the only resources company to get hit by slumping prices of metals, minerals, and agriculture. So tell us why Glencore specifically is bleeding so much more than other companies in its industry.
Well, certainly the sentiment around Glencore is very fragile because today the only news, and is what is driving this massive drop of 31% of the shares, is a brokerage note saying that Glencore may need to do a lot more in terms of restructuring. I think that investors are losing their faith into the company and into the management. They want more certainty about the plans of the company, and that's why Glencore is being particularly hit. And that also because probably is one of the most leveraged companies into the sector.
It's one of the most leveraged companies in the sector, and Investec, one of the investment banks, has issued a fairly dire warning on Glencore, stressing that debt load. What is Investec's argument, and is it an outlier? Is it really out of the consensus?
It's certainly out of the consensus. Other analysts have been warning that Glencore may need to do more, but even Investec itself, the analysis is very dire, but is still having a hold into the company. 2 weeks ago, it was recommending investors to sell it. Now it thinks that the valuation is good enough to hold the company. But it certainly seems an outlier. But the company seems to be having trouble convincing investors that it's doing enough. And the lack of response today from Glencore, who has absolutely nothing on the Investec note, probably is reinforcing that sentiment.
Got it. And what levers can Glencore pull when it comes to raising more cash to service its debt? Selling more shares is certainly one possibility, but what are the other options on the table?
Well, Glencore has announced a plan to reduce his debt from $30 billion to about $20 billion, has already raised $2.5 billion in new equity, and has a plan to reduce further, selling some assets. On Friday, we at Bloomberg reported that the company has appointed Credit Suisse and Citigroup to sell a minority stake in his agricultural business. The business could be valued as much as $12 billion. So the company certainly is doing his bit to try to reduce the debt, but probably investors want to see more concretion of how much of the reduction and also a better sense of the timing.
Right, and if you look at how the stock has performed since its IPO, it's been absolutely cratered, worth a fraction of what it was originally. The CEO, Ivan Glasenberg, Javier, has announced that debt reduction plan 3 weeks ago. It's also sold shares to raise money. You mentioned our own reporting, yet investors clearly not reassured. If you look at that last leg lower there, what do investors want to see happen here?
I think that investors want to want to see more concretion, particularly in the agricultural plan. Agriculture was one of the jewels of the crown of Glencore, and now they are selling at the bottom of the cycle. So they want to see exactly how much money Glencore can raise with that particular sale, and they want to see also more reassuring from the company that the prices remain at current levels of spot prices of copper. Take copper about just under $5,000 a ton. They want to see exactly how much profitability Glencore can take in the second half of the year, and particularly 2016, until Glencore announce more details of the agricultural plan and also reassure investors on their profitability for next year. I think that investors are going to be selling the stock. They are doing it now.
Yeah, it's a tall order then for management and Ivan Glasenberg. Thank you so much. Javier Blas joining us from London with some perspective on this free fall